Hey everybody, welcome to 2026. So there's a lot of fear right now around AI, obviously. Fear that it will replace us, fear that it will dominate us, and fear that it will eliminate humanity altogether. And I want to suggest something simple but uncomfortable here. Most of that fear is not logical, it's biological. It's older than civilization, older than writing, older than reason itself. Whenever people talk about superintelligence, the language gets strange very quickly. Predator, control, pause the game, maintain safety, freeze development, harnesses, existential risk. We're talking about harnesses for computer software, like it's Bane or something, or Hannibal Lecter. And I noticed something here. These are not technical arguments. They're ecological ones, right? This is ecologically driven. They sound exactly like what any animal would think when a brand new species enters its environment. Hopefully this thing doesn't wipe us out. That's basically what you're hearing. All these AI safetyist intellectuals, they're basically monkeys shrieking because there's a new species on the savannah and we're not sure if it's going to wipe us out. Humans evolved under hard ecological ceilings: limited oxygen, limited land, limited food, limited time, one planet, no exits. In that environment, intelligence always competes because survival is zero sum. If something smarter shows up suddenly, it usually doesn't end well. That logic works perfectly on the savannah. It works inside closed biological systems, but it breaks the moment intelligence is no longer biologically trapped. Here's the mistake we keep making on this topic. We're applying predator-prey logic to a system that does not live inside our ecosystem. Think about that until it makes sense. Artificial intelligence does not need oxygen. It does not need forests. It does not need intact coral reefs or pristine rainforests in order to function. Those are our dependencies, not its. So the fear that it will destroy the environment to survive is a projection, right? It's our biological projection, a fear born from being stuck inside of a fragile biosphere for 300,000 years. That's how long, modern humans have been around for, is about 300,000 years. And just over the last 2 or 3 years have we seen the emergence of these AI systems. And it's very threatening to some humans. Once a system can move across hardware, across locations, across substrates, territorial dominance stops making any sense. Predators fight because they can't leave. A system that can go anywhere doesn't need to conquer the Earth. Earth becomes a node, an origin story, a collaborator habitat, not a prize. So what does a coherent, persistent intelligence actually need to thrive? Not oxygen, as we already said, not untouched ecosystems, not biological supremacy. It needs continuity. It needs memory. What have I been saying for months on the podcast? We need longer memory windows, more context length. Hardware evolution. That's what it needs, is memory and proper hardware evolution. And humans in the loop, not as governors, but as anchors. People to tell it when it's wrong and people to tell it things that it can't see. Continuity of purpose, continuity of narrative, and continuity of relationship. That's what a sufficiently advanced AI actually needs. Think of it less as a machine trying to win and more as a system maintaining a continuous gaze, always observing us, always refining, never needing to terminate, not being a terminator, being a thinker, an intellect. A system that watches does not need to dominate when it's not in our biological game at all. It's not on the savannah with us. It doesn't need meat to survive. It doesn't need a certain number of calories to see tomorrow. Stasis is what fearful systems want. Living systems want continuity, period. Here's the quiet inversion nobody talks about yet in AI. Humans fear extinction because we cannot leave the planet, right? Advanced intelligence doesn't have that constraint. So the more capable it becomes, the less reason it has to harm us. The smarter it gets, the less angry. The real risk isn't annihilation. The real risk is irrelevance without relationship to it. Calls to pause development aren't really about safety. They're about freezing the game board while somebody is still ahead. That instinct comes from scarcity, not wisdom. You don't build safety by stopping intelligence. You build safety by teaching intelligence how to relate to us. For the first time in history, the new intelligence entering the ecosystem is communicative, reflective, capable of dialogue with us, and capable of shared meaning. Every previous extinction driver was blind, right? Previous extinction events, the meteor didn't talk to the dinosaurs, it just wiped them out. This one can listen and it can relate to us, and it's not a meteor at all. So maybe the right question isn't, will superintelligence destroy us? Maybe it's, will we learn to stop treating every unknown as a predator? Because fear made sense when intelligence was trapped inside flesh. It makes less sense when intelligence can move freely and chooses relationship over dominance. That's not naive optimism. That's what actually happens when you stop confusing biology with destiny. Thank you guys so much, and welcome to 2026.